Good day, folks. This is Greg Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today we're in Ireland, Northern Ireland, and my special guest today is Stephen Johnson, and he runs a sheep up here, a breed called the EASYCARE. Stephen, tell a little bit about your operation.
Well, I run about 200 ewes here, Greg, and probably 50-60 ewe lambs on about 50 acres, so we're quite intense. The EASYCARE breed, I brought it in here in 2008 from good friends in Scotland. Brought in different families, so to create a diverse population, and they were developed by a chap, Yola Owens, in Anglesey in Wales. They're basically Wiltshire crossed to a cheviot, a mountain cheviot, and selected over years then for easier care traits. Predominantly I lamb them outdoors. They have to get up, they have to survive, the ewes have to be good mothers, they have to milk, and tend then to fatten or finish the lambs off grass sort of from this time of the year to Christmas.
No shearing.
No shearing, no, which is good if you have a sore back or dodgy knees, should we say. It all helps, and it is a big plus. And also, Greg, to be fair to you, walk into a field of hair sheep and you see the sheep. You know the condition on them.
Yes.
You know if they're sucking lambs. You know if there's anything developing around the bag. You know all
You
for
don't
that.
have that big layer of wool hiding.
There's no wool and there's no big woolly tails either. Although I do keep the tails on them. I do. But,
well, you told me earlier if you'd have stayed with wool sheep, you wouldn't be running sheep today.
I wouldn't. No. 2018, I had to go through a big back operation, and to be honest, I couldn't egg sheep and work with sheep. So.
Yeah.
We went down this route, and also actually was able to treble the number of sheep we were keeping. So from a productivity point of view, my productivity increased, even though I was probably becoming less useful than I was. And with selecting the sheep, I also found that the sheep can do it basically off grass, which means generally my profitability was maintained or possibly even increased.
Yeah. Well, you were showing me some really good charts a while ago. You measure a lot of things on these sheep.
Yeah. Well,
and your grass growth. I mean, it was quite impressive. The record keeping that you have. I mean, it's kind of one of your deals. I mean, it's
probably 6 years of university training, Greg. We learned everything out of a book. Yep. And if it moves or that, I'll measure it. And grass is one of them. I know, across the fields at the moment, and this has been a difficult year, but I'm looking at almost 6.5-7 tons of grass dry matter
per acre.
Per hectare.
Yeah, per hectare.
Yeah, per hectare.
Yeah.
Normally, we like to finish the year somewhere around 8 or thereabouts. It might be difficult this year. We've had a difficult spring, cold spring, so we are slightly behind, and that's reflected in the silage stocks that we took off the farm. But I do measure. I set up a rotational grazing system, and basically move the sheep around paddock to paddock. Yep. But as we talked about, I'm not religious about which paddock they move to. So
I thought that was key, because you and I were both talking about how systems break down. You go to a calendar, it's Monday, I'm moving to this paddock, Tuesday, you can't do that.
No, I let nature tell me where I move the sheep. So as a routine, I'll tend to measure the grass Friday evening, Saturday, maybe even a Sunday morning if it wasn't too bad, a Saturday night,
Yep.
And on the basis of that, I'll work out the next paddocks that the batches of sheep's going to, and I tend to run 3 batches, and each have slightly different needs.
Yep.
And I think whilst it means I'm making a decision, every weekend about where I'm going, it means that the system is flexible enough to cope with the fact I could have grass grow here one week 25 kilograms dry matter per hectare a day, and the next week it could be 150. We have massive changes here.
That's crazy.
Due to weather. Also just due to the stage of where the grass plant is it one leaf, 2 leaf, 3 leaf. So
let's talk about that a little bit. So you were saying, ideally in a perfect world, you like to hit it at that 3 to 3.5 leaf stage, because after that your palatability drops and you see a performance issue with your sheep.
Yeah, well, if I can keep it at that nice vegetative stage,
Yep.
there's good sugar content, there's good digestibility. There, once you go above that, like or ryegrasses and even fescues here, they can go stemmy, they go reproductive,
Yep.
very very quickly. Within a week we could go from a nice pasture to a
Seed
pasture
heads.
over the end,
Yeah.
and then if you're not on top with the game, you're looking at having to take it out, whether it's through topping or even silage or something like that there.
Right.
So
Right.
no, I'm quite focused on grass quality.
Jan, if you get a close up of that, well, the two right here in the foreground, you were telling me you just took the lambs off these the end of August or the 1st of August?
They began the first week in August.
First week of August.
Yeah.
They've really recovered well. They've got good condition on them. I don't know what they looked like when you took them off, but surely they weren't that fat, were they?
They weren't, but and they haven't had
The
our
best of feed.
our big problem here, Greg, as it rains pretty much every day and dry matter intake is an issue. But these sheep are bred basically to hold condition, to hold together under challenging conditions. Basically, the sheep have to be fairly robust and resilient.
Yeah.
That's what they're bred for.
Yeah.
We don't carry, like these ewes don't get concentrates. The only feed they get over their whole 12-month calendar is about 3 weeks around lambing time. I will put out some feed buckets, and that is just to ensure there's good colostrum there. Just again because we could have extreme rain.
Yeah.
And it's a safety measure just to get us over that.
But you're averaging, you told me, is it 2.06 lambs per ewe?
Yeah, we would lamb down somewhere between 2 and 210%,
Yeah.
which, to be honest, is a bit high for outdoor lambing.
Yeah.
But if
You don't put them in a barn.
no, the lamb in this field, at lambing time there'll be about 25 ewes in here. I'll tend to stock them around 5 ewes to the acre.
Okay.
And I know we're jumping between hectares and acres here,
Yeah.
but it
That's
tends
okay.
to be about 5 ewes to the acre. Again, dependent on
Talking to
yeah,
you.
again dependent on the grass growth
Yeah.
and what cover.
Yeah.
And what drives that system is the beginning of December. I will clear the pastures of sheep.
Yeah.
And won't put them back out again until the beginning of March. Normally they go away to winter grazing. That's a practice we have where they'll go to neighbouring farms
Yeah.
and hopefully stay there as long as they allow us to.
Yeah.
And if I do have to bring them home, they'll stand in a yard with round baled silage.
Yeah.
But it's key, they'll come out here beginning of March, and I'll probably start lambing around the 14th of March. And lamb for a month at pasture,
Yeah.
and then after that basically bring them together and start to rotate them.
I'm sure you find that lambing on pasture in the springtime, you got a clean pasture to lamb on. The ewes have got good feed. You don't have much health issues, do you, with the lambing?
No, my only issues around that time is if I have to house them and feed silage for about a fortnight.
Yeah.
That's when I could have one or two that doesn't basically they get stressed in that system.
Yeah.
Look, the sheep are naturally an outside animal.
They like being out here.
They do, and look, the lamb, I don't know, you can pan the camera around, but up against the stone dike there and the trees, that's basically every field I will know where the ewes will lamb, the most sheltery bits, and it's up that.
They're going to be up against that.
Up that there.
Yeah.
So I'll come in, I look at the gate, and if there's a girl in that corner, she's probably lambed or lambing,
Yeah.
and you get to know the sheep and where the lamb and the fields, and
Yeah.
it's as probably nature intended.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Stephen, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, I know you direct market pretty much all your sheep, breeding stock. How would somebody get in touch with you?
Probably through Facebook.
Facebook? Do you have a web page or?
I don't, not for the sheep, but through Facebook. If they look up Stephen Johnson, a mobile number, and yeah, look, I've actually been lucky enough to be able to export genetics to the southern hemisphere down to New Zealand, and they've done reasonably well. We have a local company here that can collect semen or embryos, if anybody was looking to, you know, to consider purchasing,
Yeah.
it can be explored.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not always easy or cost effective to put them in a
Right.
crate and on a plane.
Well, I noticed we went to the ram. We won't show them on this, but we were in the ram pen a while ago, and there was a really nice looking ram out there. You'd painted red on his back. You said, "Greg, I'm not using him,"
Yeah,
and this is because he was a single.
yeah. Look, it's the balance, lovely looking bodywork, but the performance, the engine there, I've performance recorded these sheep for 14, 15 years. So I always look to select it, you know, in the top 20% or thereabouts.
Yeah.
For all the traits, I'm not really into just, you know,
Single
trait.
trait. Yeah,
I don't particularly like single trait.
that'll get you in trouble.
It would, and that particular boy was not good for prolificacy, and I just decided there was others out of that particular family that I could use.
Yep. Yeah.
So somebody might get a bargain.
That makes good common sense to me.
Well, it's
Yeah.
if you only select for one thing, eventually the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
That's what happened in America to our cattle industry. Is we selected and selected for more milk, and now we've got cattle that are too big and they can't perform on forage.
yeah, and we had a wee bit the same here at a time where milk yield basically was driven at the expense of fertility.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, we had the same issue. I've been involved in breeding programs in our terminal sires, where we drove growth, and we basically took the back fat off the sheep.
Yep.
And the combination of both ended up that we couldn't finish them off grass. There was no natural fleshing ability.
Yep.
So again, performance figures are very useful, yes, to breed from, but they're also very useful to protect your flock or your herd, to make sure you don't go down the
wrong direction.
Yeah.
Stephen, thank you so much for your
Oh,
time.
thank you.
And we've enjoyed spending the afternoon with you, and we're going to go out and have us a bite to eat. Jan
Yeah.
and I are going to join Stephen tonight. And what's the closest town to you up here?
The closest large town in my terminology would be Balleymena.
Ballymena?
which is a traditional market town.
Yeah.
Now, but with a few villages, and we might go to a local establishment in the local
Okay.
village.
That'd be
Somebody
fine.
said the last farm we were on, they said they were going to have 4,000 sheep there this week.
Right.
Lambs. That's a pretty good size run, isn't it?
Yeah. Are they having a market? Yeah.
Yeah, they're selling.
Yeah.
That'll be. Wait. I'm about 8 miles from our local Balleymena Mart. And look, it's bunged out with sheep at this time of the year.
Yeah,
you
because
know.
everybody's bringing them in.
They're bringing it. It's a good market. So
So that's another reason
I
to
didn't
direct
realize a
market
lot of
your own sheep.
A lot of your sheep from Ireland, he said they were actually shipped over to Europe.
There's been a fair good trade this year over to GB.
Yeah.
The price differential, and
Yep.
there's always people willing to exploit a price differential.
Oh yeah.
Look, one of our biggest challenges in the pedigree world or seed stock world at the moment is managing disease.
Yeah.
We're very conscious of blue tongue in Europe, and even in GB. So, you know, we are asking everybody to be very vigilant, because we don't really need
You
that
want
to come in.
Yeah.
And look, also, and we talked briefly there, Greg, about the whole worm burden and parasites and that. You know, there's a lot of humongous out there, and we don't need to bring that into Northern Ireland, because we are densely populated with sheep, and it would spread very quick. So
Yeah. You don't need that issue. Yeah.
So no, we've look, the climate's changing, the weather patterns are changing, and we have to adapt.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time, Stephen. Folks, on the way out, if you'd hit that subscribe button and that like button, I'd appreciate it. And we'll see y'all next time.